So I just finished upgrading this LTD-200DX. Now in this video I want to talk about replacing the nut, the issues I had trying to replace the bridge, and obviously upgrading the knobs. I did replace the pickups, but we're going to save that for another video. And there's a couple of weird things that happened as I've owned this guitar that I want to talk about a little bit. So if that's something you're into, please like, share, and subscribe. We'd love to have you here. Now let's get after it. So as you can see here, it looks like the 24th fret inlay fell out or broke out, right? But I didn't have any abuse of the guitar or the neck or anything, so I have no idea how this happened, but it looks like it might not have been super glued in all the way, and part of that inlay just broke off of it. As you can see here, the part that did get glued in kind of chips right out pretty easily, and there it is with it all the way out. So what I'm going to do is just try to find another inlay to put in there, or maybe I'll contact ESP and see if they'll send me something. So when I went to upgrade this nut with a Tusq nut, it's just something I do with all my guitars, I noticed that the E string and the B string were a little bit off, and I had to double check it. It's a little hard to see here, but it's just a hair. And so I thought that was kind of odd too. But basically I just went through and replaced the nut like I normally would. Now this is not a how-to on how to do this. I do have a couple videos on how to replace a nut. This is more just an overview of, you know, getting it done. So I went through the process that I go through to replace the nut. And also they were super glued in, and so you have to be real careful about removing that so you don't damage the neck. And when I replace it with the new nut, I will use some wood glue instead, and it holds it in place just fine, and it's a lot easier to work on later on down the road. So if another tech gets this guitar, it'll be a lot easier for them to work on at some point. But all I had was a white one, so I just went ahead and used the white one that I had already instead of buying another one. And yeah, everything went well. It just basically go through the process of getting it sized up to fit, and then I use my wonderful nut files, and once I get it into place, I use my nut files and get that right, and we have a new nut. But I just thought that was really odd that the string spacing was just a hair off. It wasn't much, like it really wasn't much at all, but it was just a tad. So I don't know if somehow that actual nut when it was cut was moved by the machine or something or what, but I just thought it was quite odd. So but we got that fixed up and everything went well with that, and now we need to talk about the bridge stuff. This is the Gotoh 510FX-6 in Cosmo Black. I thought this would be a great addition to the other upgrades, especially since it's all the same company with the same color and everything would look good. And this thing is beautiful. It's substantial and it's really great. So I thought, man, this is going to be a really super cool addition to this guitar, the upgrades on this guitar. So as I was doing my measurements and checking to make sure everything lined up right, there was one problem. The holes where the strings go through the body there don't quite line up. They're a little bit too close to be able to use this. So on an upgrade like this, these are all bolt-on upgrades, so there's no cutting or drilling or anything. So there's no way I could use this bridge the way it was. You can see here the holes are a little closer than they are on the stock bridge. So what I decided to do was go ahead and use the stock bridge plate and use the upgraded saddles for now until I decide what I want to do. I'll either use it for something else or do something with it to modify it. But I only want to give you guys strictly bolt-on things so that it's as easy as possible and it doesn't ruin your guitar while you're doing any of this stuff too. So this worked out pretty great though, and it looks really nice. And you know, obviously you could say they're really expensive saddles, but I'm going to use that bridge somewhere else, I'm sure. I've got plenty of stuff lying around here that, you know, I end up using later on, even though at the time I have no idea what it's going to be for. So, and, you know, there's nothing wrong with that bridge either. I just really wanted this to have a cohesive black chrome look and, you know, have a little bit more substantial. The Gotoh bridge was super nice, and it had a little bit more meat to it, so it would have given a little bit better sustain and that sort of thing. But this worked out just fine. And we went with the Gotoh Cosmo black knobs too on top of it. They're made for the 1/4-inch knobs, and you could put them on smooth or knurled. It's a really tight fit, right? So when you tighten the screw down, they stay put, and they move in a circular fashion. And, you know, it's really great. So I didn't have any issues there. You just basically have a flathead screw that you have to loosen up, and they fit nice and snug on there, and just tighten that down. And they're not going to go anywhere, even with push-pull pots, any of that stuff. They're not going anywhere. And yeah, it looks really great with having it all the same finish from the same company. You know what I mean? Like, somebody will say it's chrome, but you get 3 different chromes from 3 different manufacturers, you know? So really, it's a small detail, but I really love having that cohesiveness with the products that I use. So here you can see that how nice everything uniform it all looks. And then, you know, we also have the tuners, which have the same finish on them. And we did the upgrade on the nut. So now we've got a nut with the right string spacing, and we are good to go. So once again, thank you for checking this out. And if you like what you see, please give it a like, share, or comment. And we'd love to have you as a subscriber. But until then, we'll talk to you on the next one. Thank you.